we all know each other. You may be seated, please. Sometimes I forget those words. And my subject today is grace, the key to God's power. And I think we all need God's power because we can't make it without God's power. We need it. You know? How do you see God's grace in your life? Because grace is such a funny word. I'm teaching it the key to God's power, but there's many, many definitions for grace. Many, many definitions. Is that right? Yes. Many, many definitions. So, what is grace to you? I want you to think about it. I'm always the one that wants you to think. I wish I had a mic so I could pass the mic out and say, what is grace to you, Sister Ella? God's unmerited favor. Everybody has a different way of seeing grace. And I have a lot of definitions, and I'm going to give some of them, but I'm not going to do all of them. When we looked in the Old Testament, it started with a word, it says chesed, C-H-E-S-E-D. And in that time, it said the words of deliverance from enemies, affliction, or adversity. It also denotes enablement, daily guidance, forgiveness, and preservation. Now, when we look in the New Testament, it says charis. And it focuses on the promises of salvation, favor, blessing, and kindness. Grace means God's love and action toward men who merited the opposite of love. We didn't deserve it. God moved in heaven and earth to save sinners who could not lift a finger to save themselves.
My God.
And then we act like we're all that. If it wasn't for God, where would we be? Where would we be? Think about it. Where would we be? God did it. Everything in your life, God did it. I once preached a sermon where I said, everything you got, you borrowed it from God. And when you leave, He's going to lend it to somebody else. So you need to focus in on the fact everything we have comes from God. Comes from God. Oh, God. When you think about it, let's think about that for a minute. Everything that we have comes from God. I don't care where you live, what you drive, what you wear. Everything that you got comes from God. Raise your hand and be grateful to God. He did it. He did it. He did it. He did it. Yes. That's why we need to love each other. Because that's how God loves us. We need to love each other. There should be no hatred in the church. None. No jealousy, no hatred. All we need to be seen is love, 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 love. That's it. I'm telling you, we have to change our hearts. I have another definition that says grace may be defined as the unmerited favor of God to those who are under condemnation. And I have a lot of scriptures, but I'm not going to, I can give them to you if you want, but I don't really want to go through the scriptures because there's a lot of scriptures. Okay, it says grace gives a blessing we don't deserve, and mercy withholds a punishment we deserve. The goodness of God. Think about it. Think about it. Think about even today what has gone on in your life. Think about it. Who'd you blow your horn at? Who'd you turn up, let's be honest, who'd you roll your eyes at? Think about it. We need to think about these things. When I was younger, much younger, and my mother would tell me, you roll your eyes, it could stick like that. You'll have rolled eyes. So I learned quickly not to roll, because at that time you were still afraid that those things would happen to you. But now I'm not that I'm afraid that it's going to stay like that, but I just don't want to roll my eyes anymore. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Okay. Grace is God giving the greatest treasure to the least deserving, which is every one of us in here. We don't deserve it. So the way I want you to understand, oh no, I gotta say this one more thing. When Charlene was teaching Sunday, she said, grace is favor, acceptance, kindness, granted, or desired. I wrote it down. See, I'm taking good notes in Sunday school, Charlene. So now we want to go back to grace is the key to God's power. Grace, I'm going to read a couple more little definitions. Grace justifies us before a holy God, because we don't deserve it. It justifies us. That's what grace does. It provides us access to God. Grace was also was for us a new relationship of intimacy of God with God. Now, now we can get close to God. We're intimate with God. When you get up in the morning, the first thing you should be saying, like, praise you. Praise you, Lord. Thank you. I always say, Lord, I surrender my life to you. Please, take it. Because I'm nothing without you. And I realize that. When you're running my life, it's good. And I notice it makes my life easier. If I'm looking for something, God shows me. He shows up. Just different things. It just makes my life easier. Grace grants us unmeasurable spiritual riches. Grace helps us in our every need. And grace is the reason behind our deliverance. Do we believe that?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're talking about grace, the key to God's power. So in order for that, you first have to have faith. Faith gives us access to grace. Do we believe that?
Yes.
Romans 5:2. Because of our faith, Christ has brought us into his place of undeserved privilege, where we now stand, and we confidently and joyfully look forward to sharing God's glory. And we got it? Because of our faith. So we have to have faith. Faith gives us access to grace. Grace equals power, which causes us to triumph. Now we saw our pastor here Sunday, and we could see his faith. Can we see his faith?
Yes.
He's accessing God's power so he can triumph. He's accessing God's power so he can triumph. Let's look at Acts 20:32. And now I entrust you to God and the message of his grace that is able to build you up and give you an inheritance with all those he has set apart for himself. You know we're set apart, is that right?
Yeah.
Do you believe it?
Yes.
Paul here is pointing to grace that would make us winners over every battle. Paul is telling us we have to have faith that brings us into grace and that makes us become winners. And I'm not telling you anything that I have not walked through. And in order to preach, you're going to have to walk through. Even as a saint, you're going to have to walk through some stuff.
Yeah,
and that's the bottom line. But if we have grace, we can walk it through. And all of you guys remember, the death of my daughter?
Yes.
I saw grace. I saw grace then. I saw grace. And when I look back at it, me and my daughter were together almost actually 7 days a week, except maybe on Sunday she didn't go to church all the time. But 6 days a week for sure we were together. And God pulled us apart before she died. Pulled us apart. I had to go to New York to help a friend, and I thought I was doing a favor, but actually God was gracing me. God was gracing me. I tell people, never be afraid to help anybody. Don't be afraid. Don't ever be afraid to help anybody because you don't know what's behind it. You don't know what's behind it. Yes. And that was God's grace behind me at that time, helping me out. You know, and I'm telling you, let me tell you how bad. It was horrible in New York. That same daughter would be calling me every day and telling me, come home, come home. It was hot. It was hot. I don't know how I survived this, the heat, because in Aruba it's hot, but it's windy, so you can survive the heat. But when you're in a closed house, no air conditioned, a little fan blowing, but a fan is blowing hot air. Hot air. I'm telling you, the devil was taunting me to go back home. In fact, one night I was asleep, and when I woke up, I saw a demon standing over me. I tell you, thank God for tongues. Thank God for tongues. Thank God for tongues. I mean, I started off in tongues, that demon disappeared. And where I thought, at first I was thinking, oh, I'm going to get up. Then I thought to myself, why am I getting up? I turned over and went back to sleep. Went back to sleep, but he was gone like that. I'm telling you. So I could see now, all that is God's grace. I'm telling you guys, God was letting me see that I needed to stay there, but the devil was trying to taunt me to come back. Because it would have been big. It would have been bigger for me if I was still, I had like over a month away from her. Yes. And in that time, she fixed her car. So when I did come back, we weren't like that anymore. So God was helping me. And sometimes we don't see the way God helps us.
That's true. That's true.
When she died, she fixed my hair all the time. Yeah. Every Saturday I was at a hairdresser. But guess what? I learned to fix my hair. The first time, when she first left, I was wearing a wig. And then Tashana said to me, Mom, please take that wig off. And eventually I took it off. But guess what? I have learned to do my own hair. Yeah. Charlene said my hair looks good, so I have learned to do my own hair. I can wash, blow dry, and chi my own hair. I'm like, my kids know. My kids know, because sometimes I used to bug them, but recently I don't bug y'all anymore. So God knows that my child was going to go home. So he was gracing me, and I saw his hand. When you see God's hand, you could just go, God, you're still good. God, you're still good. And people that wanted me to break down and cry and scream, I'm like, no. God graced me, and I took that grace.
Oh, yes.
Because I know God could have raised her up. I have gone to the hospital and preached for people, and lay hands on people, and guess what? I'll never forget me and my two girlfriends that went to, this woman was in a coma, and we went and we prayed, and when they were praying, I said to Farlene, Farlene, pray for her salvation. Pray for her salvation. That's what I'm hearing. And so Farlene started praying for her salvation. That woman was in a coma, and she stood up like this. My friends ran away. But I understand. I was a nurse in between that. I understood why they left. If I wasn't a nurse, I probably would have left myself. I bartered with God when my child was in the hospital. I bartered with God, because I would tell him, God, just think if you raise her up, what an experience it would be. All these people in here would know that you're real. But guess what? Linda preached her funeral, and she gave an invitation to everybody that was there to stand up.
Yes, Lord Jesus.
You know that? Everybody in there. So, you know, you can't tell God how he's going to do it. Nope. You have to go by what he wants to do.
That's right. His way.
In Jeremiah 29:11, and everybody know that scripture, there's grace in that plan for your life. That is why we can't compare ourselves. You know, how he made me, he didn't make you. Is that right? All of us are different. Every one of us